The man upstairs. The man living upstairs from me has been renovating his apartment for 9 years, maybe longer, they tell me. No one knows for sure. The previous occupant of my apartment died of old age, or so they say. I have been living here for the past 2 years and can personally vouch for renovation activity during that period of time. Every so often, Pandupek, as I have christened him, gives in to a perverse craving for loud banging noises. This can happen at any time of the day or night. One nail at a time, by God. Home was not rebuilt in a day. Bang, bang, bang. Then his dementia goes into remission and the banging stops. This allows his wife to slipper shuffle for a while as the dog goes tippity-tappity for a couple of laps around Chez Dupek. Then it is quiet again. They evidently have no rug, and the smallest sound carries for miles in these old commie apartment blocks. This is the normal routine, but from time to time he tries for a new personal best. On the most spectacular such occasion, he spent 2 days trying to pound a hole through his kitchen floor with a sledgehammer. At least that's what it sounded and felt like. The whole building shook. New Zealand, here we come, I thought. Boom, boom, boom. His kitchen is directly over mine, so it was only a matter of time. No point in warning the guy, his kind always knows better. In due course, I arrived home from work to find a trail of plaster chunks and dust in the hall, leading to a much larger accumulation of the same on my kitchen floor and surrounding surfaces. Dust to dust, eh? Someone is either coming or going around here, and it's not me, I thought. In fact, nearly half of my thick plaster kitchen ceiling was in capitulatory repose on my kitchen floor, having surrendered in the struggle to find peace on earth. I stomped up the stairs to beard the Dupek in his den. Well, you have finally succeeded. My ceiling is now on the floor, I told him. Yeah, right, he said. Okay, come and look, I said. He swaggered down the stairs, sporting one of those omniscient commie smirks you see chiseled into every cement head in Central Europe. When he saw the mess, he grabbed his head with both hands, grimaced wildly, reeled backward on his heels like some cartoon character, and cried out, "Kurcha!" Truer words were rarely spoken, I thought. Now do you believe me, I asked? And while you're at it, who is going to clean up this mess? Kurcha, he cried out again. I'll fix the ceiling. Don't worry, I'll fix the ceiling. Forget the ceiling. Who is going to clean up this mess? I asked. He wobbled back upstairs like a chimpanzee with diarrhea, still holding his head with both hands, muttering, Kurcha, Kurcha. Shortly thereafter, his wife plodded down the stairs, shaking and sweating, and made a half-hearted attempt to sweep up. Forget it before you have a heart attack, I told her. Well, she is rather old, though not exactly frail, Pani Krova, if you know what I mean. It was now about 7 p.m. I called the landlady's sister. The landlady does not live nearby. Half the kitchen ceiling fell on the floor, and it's a big mess, I told her. Well, can it wait until tomorrow, she asked. Yeah, but it really is a very big mess, I said. A couple of minutes later, she called back. My husband and I are coming over to look at it, she said. Okay, I said, but looking at it won't clean it up, and it is a very big mess. We want to see just how big of a mess it is, she said. Okay, I said, I'll be here. They arrived. The husband looked, reeled back on his heels, and cried out, Kurcha! Then the wife peeked around the corner into the kitchen, reeled back on her heels, and cried out, Kurcha! Now do you believe me? I asked. I told you nearly half of the ceiling was on the floor, and there it is, right? Yeah, they agreed despondently. They seemed genuinely disappointed about missing an opportunity to make fun of a typical exaggerating American. Well, what now? I asked. Okay, we'll clean it up, they said. So we all pitched in and pitched out the debris, more or less. The next day, the local pani cleaning ova finished the job, adding her own belated kurcha to the chorus. Of course, the ceiling still needed to be repaired, but naturally, first and foremost, the cooperative association had to determine blame. As it happens, the man upstairs is prezes of the cooperative. You can probably see where this is heading. So in due course, Pan Prezes assembled a delegation of the usual mouth-breathing sycophants to inspect the premises and render a fair and impartial opinion. They arrived along with the landlady's sister. This delegation consisted of one old lady who works for Pan Prezes in the office, and some old guy carrying a yardstick who spent the whole time staring open-mouthed at the ceiling and mumbling incomprehensibly. Pan Prezes was in his full glory, hands in pockets, rocking fore and aft, heel to toe to heel, grinning the biggest shit-eating grin I have ever seen on what purported to be a human being. After 25 minutes of wandering about aimlessly, staring skyward and babbling back and forth, Pan Prezes declared the inspection complete and stated that the delegation would render a final opinion in writing in 1 week. Gee, I thought, this is going to be a real cliffhanger. I can hardly wait to find out what they decide. The fateful day arrived, and, as I suspected, the jury returned a verdict of not guilty regarding Pan Prezes. Instead, they pinned the rap on the building itself. Seriously, the written statement literally said, quote, "The building is guilty," unquote. Consequently, my landlady had to pay for the repairs. Not Pan Prezes, not the cooperative, and not even the building. Fortunately, not me either. I had been waiting to see if they could think of a way to hang it on me. Perhaps something like excessive localized gravity due to the presence of an overly serious alien force. Understandably, the building itself was unavailable for further comment, having already expressed its opinion upon Prezes by dropping its load on my kitchen floor in the first place. Somewhat incredibly, the landlady's sister actually thought that there had been a chance that the delegation would declare Pan Prezes guilty. I had no idea anyone over the age of 6 months could be that naive. When I returned from my Christmas vacation, it was all fixed. All things considered, it was a relatively painless resolution to an idiotic situation, except that some of the people in my office agreed that the building was guilty. They said it was old, probably not very well constructed in the first place, like so many other things, including their irrational argument, and no repairs had been done in a long time by my landlady. I told them none of that was true, and that if they had been there and felt the building shaking on its foundations, while Pan Prezes sledgehammered his way to infamy, they would probably think differently. They just shook their heads and went back to work. I'm sure they were thinking, just another typical exaggerating American. Kurcha!